It's not going to change anything on the ground in Gaza. We're still going to get the same policies, but implemented by Israel in Gaza, probably even more violently because they'll be more encouraged to do them. And that's going to provoke more protests around the world, put more pressure on the Saudis themselves. It's not going to solve problems. This idea that you can resolve the problem in the Middle East by cutting deals with Arab governments like the Saudi government, it's just been tried again and again and again. It hasn't worked. The problem, the conflict is still there because it is a conflict ultimately between peoples. And unless and until this is properly understood and accepted and people work on that basis, then we're never going to get a solution to this problem. The second is going back to that Security Council vote when the United States blocked Palestine getting statehood. I have to say, I was absolutely horrified by what the US ambassador said over the vote, because basically the comment made was, we won't do this, we won't recognize the state of Palestine until there is an agreement, a negotiated settlement between Israel and the
That's correct.
Palestinians, which in effect gives the Israelis, the Israeli government, which is adamantly opposed to a Palestinian state, a veto over the entire process. They can always string out any negotiations which happen. They can always complicate them, add conditions, do all of those things to keep this thing going indefinitely. And again, you're essentially surrendering your own ability to make decisions on this question to another government which is hostile to the whole idea of a Palestinian state. I find that astonishing. The third thing is recognizing Palestine as a state not only would be the just and correct thing to do from a moral and legal position, but it would also, in my opinion, increase US leverage over Israel if there really is a desire to achieve peace. The fact that they are not doing that undermines whatever leverage they have over Israel. Again, that seems to me obvious. It is getting everything completely the wrong way round. So, of course, we're going to see more crisis and we're going to see more protests in the United States. And that is, for me, the single biggest change. Because up to now, in every iteration of the Arab-Israeli conflict, Palestinian-Israeli conflict that I can remember, US opinion has been solid in support of US policy with respect to Israel, supporting Israel. Today, it seems that is no longer the case. And I'm going to suggest that is the single greatest change, the most important change that we have seen, and the one that gives hope that in the future, we will start to see a change in US policy and a change towards actual peace in resolving this conflict. So I consider these protests in Colombia to be enormous, and not just Colombia, obviously, across the universities, an enormous and important sign and a crystallizing moment.
I think you've hit it exactly right on every point. And it's worth pointing out, if people are not aware, why is it so important to have this UN membership of Palestine, a state of Palestine, sovereign state recognized by the world community? The reason is that already going back to 2002, to the Arab Peace Initiative, and repeated since then, though not reported in our newspapers, par for the course, but repeated by the Arab League, repeated by the Arab and Islamic nations, again last November in Riyadh after this latest spasm of murder and massacre broke out in Gaza. The Arab and Islamic countries, and by the way, this includes clearly Iran, which has said so repeatedly, are ready for peace based on two states, with Palestine being a sovereign state borders 1967, according to international law, capital in East Jerusalem, and control over the Islamic holy sites. That's the bottom line. And peace can be made on this absolutely sound, fair, practical, achievable, within reach grounds. And so the whole claim, the meme, the mantra, endlessly, falsely repeated, there's no way to make peace, there's no one to talk to, they're out to kill us, all the rest, is plainly, blatantly falsified by the Arab and Islamic world. And they are the ones that can make the peace happen and will make the peace happen as part of a peace settlement. And the United States knows this. And Israel knows this. And the Israeli government knows this. They don't want peace. They want greater Israel. That's the problem. They're not looking for a practical solution. They're not looking for a fair solution. They're not looking for a just settlement. We are in the hands of extremists. We are in the hands of extremists that demand everything and have a lobby behind that. And those demands are what blocks the peace and threatens the world. Everybody gets it. Our students get it. The other 190 UN member states get it. But the Israeli government doesn't want it. That's the problem. That's why this vote is so essential. That's why the U.S. actions are so completely destructive, self-destructive of the politics, self-destructive of American interests, destructive of peace, all of it. But it's all predicated at the core on a fundamental irrationality of a radical extremist government in Israel, which has thought all along, we can get what we want. The U.S. stands irrevocably with us. We have all the power. Who's going to stop us?